call the Tuesday, June 4th, 2024 Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Bruce Johnson, lead us, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I believe Member Romine will be a few minutes late today. So we'll begin also with approval of minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comments, we have one. Mr. Johnson, welcome and come forward. And state your name and address for the record, please.
My address, you said?
Yes.
Okay. Bruce Johnson, 2012 South Village Road, LaPorte. I'm here on behalf of a class at LaPorte Middle School and their teacher, Bob Seco, and they saw a video about Fred Menon, and were really interested in the fact that Jiffy Pop was invented in LaPorte. They decided to want to do a project. So I met with the teacher, Bob, and at the museum, and I work under the Indiana Historical Society as well as the Indiana Historical Bureau, which makes the historical markers. Anyway, he got the idea that about putting a historical marker either on Clay Street at 506 Clay in front of the actual building where Jiffy Pop was invented, or on the courthouse lawn. And I felt the courthouse lawn wasn't really an appropriate place for something like that, but I said, what about Plaza 618, since there's a lot of historical memorabilia there. So anyway, that was just a thought I had, and so they asked me if I would be here today and on behalf of this idea.
Great. Is this something that should go through the Historic Preservation Board that you're a part of and discuss where that might go?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Is this one of those markers that I mean, there's a couple other historic markers in town. It would be similar to that, is that correct?
There's one on the courthouse lawn that's about the courthouse. You know,
Yeah.
the big blue metal signs. We have one for Camp Colfax on the other end of town, and
Okay.
Annette Leffler?
Just say a word. When the teacher called me, I wasn't sure of a process to make this request, and that's how it came about that Bruce was gonna come speak to the board, because I thought this was just a good place to start. And the teacher and his class, and of course Mr. Johnson, are open to, you know, whatever process we decide is appropriate to look at that. But, so he's here because I just wasn't sure where to start.
and
Well,
they're
I-
still,
I'm throwing that out there.
they're still in school right now, so it couldn't come. So,
I would love to see the children, the students be involved and engaged in making that decision. I don't know how the other members feel, and I don't know if historic preservation would be the right one.
Yeah, I certainly don't know the exact process for this, but I read the article, great article, love the idea of kind of commemorating him and kind of what he did, having, had lots of Jiffy Pop as a kid. Yeah,
You no longer have Jiffy Pop?
it's been a while, but I understand it's still available, so I
Oh,
think
it is still
we may actually
available.
try it out to show our kids
can buy
like what
it,
it was
yes.
like back in the day. And my mom, fun fact, actually worked on the Jiffy Pop line at American Home
Really?
Foods, yeah.
Well, then I would ask if the Historic Preservation Board alongside our Planning and Engineering Department work together, but I would just love to see some representation of the students and teacher being a part of that.
The markers are very expensive. They're at least $3,000, so but they were willing to try to raise the money for this, I guess. And I just felt the courthouse lawn was not the best place, since this more involved the city. But I didn't think 506 Clay Street, I know it's a really cool building, but in its condition, I don't think it would be appropriate to put it in front of the building in the condition that it's in, so. that
Well,
was
if you
just a
would
thought.
commit to, as you always do, leading the charge with the students, with our team, and kind of meet with the Historic Preservation, and if, I know Mr. Minnick and planning, Mr. Phillips have a lot on their plate and their teams, but I think this is worthwhile.
Okay. And I thought of Plaza 618 because there's a huge mural with all of the history on it. People from LaPorte are the part of our history, and it just seemed like might be a nice spot to put. That was just my thought, so, okay?
I think too, maybe getting from the Historical Preservation Committee and working with the students, like what goes on the sign specifically, right, about the history of Jiffy Pop would, that way you're just I think it would need to come back before you, but then you're just approving exactly what the sign's gonna say.
So do we need a motion?
No, I think it's,
Sounds like more research.
yeah, I think it just should go through Historical Preservation and then come back to Board of Works, so. I think it's a great idea. I did almost set my kitchen on fire doing it last year, though, with Jiffy Pop. It was, got an excellent photo of it that my wife wouldn't want me to show everybody. Yeah.
I used to get it for $10 a pan because my friend worked there.
Oh, cool.
And I think Plaza 618 is a great location. Planning Department's been working on kind of expansion of plaza areas downtown. So there might be some other alternatives too that,
Okay.
that maybe haven't been thought of that might be a great fit. We've been working with HPC on developing some kind of we call it like a linear history park along Indiana Ave as you go from kind of the library or even courthouse down towards the museum, and with the new bump outs with the extra lawn space. I think there's some really great ideas. So there might be some really great locations. That block on Clay is maybe not the ideal one right now, but there are some great locations. We can definitely work on finding the right one and getting some excited students involved.
Sure.
So Bruce, we look forward to updates, and please include the students and teacher and HPC, and we look forward to your thoughts coming back as you guys make this decision.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
No other comments? Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
Good morning. We have civil city payroll for $529,139.99.
I move we approve the Civil City payroll.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Civil city claims, $787,936.71.
I move we approve the Civil City claims.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved.
Sewage claims, $221,938.11.
I move we approve the sewage claims.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Water claims, $155,278.31.
I move we approve the water claims.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Also asking for a temporary loan from CEDAT for the police pension. We try to, whatever we can, to not put a tax rate on police and fire pension. It's reimbursed from the state. We budget 3 to 4 death, this is terrible to say, but we budget for 3 to 4 deaths per year. The police pension is just a little bit short right now before we get our June settlement. So I did ask for a temporary loan a couple meetings ago. We had another death, so we are asking for a $10,000 temporary loan from CEDAT until we get our June settlement, which pays us back into both of the pensions. We get our June settlements for everything, but it will pay the pensions back. So I'm asking for a $10,000 temporary loan for the police pension.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion, I just want to make sure publicly that the fund is well financed.
It is. This is a normal, we do this
Yes.
every year because,
Thought so.
yeah, we do this every year because June settlements come in at the end of June. And it's just the way that the state reimburses. We're supposed to be reimbursed up to 100%. Sometimes it's a couple percentages short, but we try everything we can to not put a tax rate on these so that the tax rate can go into the general. It's a normal process that we do every year.
Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And then lastly, I'm asking for a claim to be paid that didn't go on the docket because I was looking for guidance from State Board of Accounts, and I just received that last night. So I'm asking for a $1,000 payment for Nicholas Smith per Administrative Policy and Standard Procedure HR 054 to be paid. I need to cut that check today with the other claims. We'll put it on the next docket, but I need that approval today.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Department head reports, if anybody has one, please feel free to share. Don't be offended if you don't. Mike Fraze, streets, and pothole-free leader.
Yep. LaPorte County contacted me this morning, they want to close Waverly from Pine Lake to their section, because they're gonna do brush cutting and grass mowing. They don't want to be breaking windshields and stuff like they have in the past.
And who is going to be doing
LaPorte
this?
County,
And this will be along Waverly?
yeah, Waverly from Pine Lake to wherever they're gonna stop cutting it in their area. It's on their property and stuff.
And that'll allow for a vista view?
Yeah,
As
just
people
one day.
drive by? Okay, great. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Alrighty.
Thank you. Jess Spoljaric.
Gosh.
Mark Schreiber, Parks.
Morning. A lot kicking up this week with summer here. The LaPorte City Band starts their season of concerts tomorrow night at the Dennis F. Smith Amphitheater in Fox Park. They'll be every Wednesday at 7 through August 7th. Arts in the Park kicks off the following night on Thursday. The Remedy Band is the headliner for their first night, and they will have concerts on Thursdays through August 29th, with the exception of the week of 4th of July. 4th of July falls on a Thursday this year, so they'll be doing it on July 2nd on that particular week, but that kicks up this week. Our first Friday Night Live will be taking place Friday down on Monroe Street, the 50s Cruise Inn. Information on that can be found at livingthelakelife.org. And on Sunday, we have the annual Chain of Lakes Paddle. That is sponsored with the Northwest Indiana Paddling Association. They do encourage people, although it is free, to RSVP for it, and they can do that at NWIPA.org, so NWIPA.org/events. And then just looking forward a couple weeks, we'll have our first Movies in the Park on Friday, June 14th. We'll have 5 different Fridays this year. We'll also have our night bike ride, the first one on Friday, June 21st. All that information can be found on LaPorteParkandRec.com. So we encourage people to come out for those free movie nights. There is a charge for the night bike rides, but they also get a food and drink after and a T-shirt for each event. And then also let everybody know, the park board meeting this month, typically we hold our park board meetings on the third Wednesday. Because of the Juneteenth holiday on Wednesday the 19th, we're moving it up a week. It'll be at 4 p.m. on Wednesday, June 12th at the park office.
And then we may have to add, maybe for department heads, how to handle encounters with snapping turtles, as I watched Mr. Schreiber deal with that situation. So we may have to add some training of how to deal with it to
Yeah,
address
you
a large.
usually don't put your hands anywhere near a snapping turtle, would be my general advice to department heads and the public. Turtles generally are gonna get their way across, so they usually say not to interfere with the turtle unless it's an absolute peril, and then you can take your thumbs at your own risk and try to move them across the street, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bert Cook, Leap. Shocked that he might come to the mic.
I don't think that was a compliment. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. So I know many of you were in attendance last night, and so I will be relatively brief with my comments this morning. But last night was obviously an exciting day for the city of LaPorte. We were able to, in partnership with the Redevelopment Commission and the City Council, to announce the Microsoft project that is occurring in our community. Just to give you a brief synopsis, it's a $1 billion capital investment in the city of LaPorte to build a new data center campus along Boyd Boulevard, kind of at the southern edge of the city of LaPorte. The facility will employ 200 people, 200 high-paying jobs at its build-out. We had Microsoft representatives in town last night to announce and celebrate with us, but we asked the city council to utilize what is called a data center exemption, which is a program that's given to us by our state legislator to help offset personal property tax associated with that equipment. So the company is going to receive that exemption for 40 years. In turn, they will pay a pilot or a payment in lieu of taxes. 30% of that savings, up to $2.5 million a year for 40 years, to the Redevelopment Commission to be used for projects in conjunction with the LaPorte Community School Corporation. So it's a way the company can continue to support our community and our school corporation, which is a very important priority for them. They will pay real property taxes. There is no incentive on that portion of things. And as you look at other, although this is the first Microsoft data center in the state of Indiana, we have seen other like projects from competing companies occur. And if you benchmark our incentive package versus some of those other packages other communities have used, I think it compares very favorably for the city of LaPorte. I won't go through the full list. Last night I went through a list of thank yous to individuals that were involved in the project. There is a whole host of people that have had a hand in this. But I'll mention a few people individually that I think have been very important in the process. On the Microsoft side, Jorge Flores, who was their Director of Land Acquisition, Paul Inglis, Principal Program Manager, Mike Stockwell, who was with us last night, is on the development side, Matthew DeStefano on the community affairs side, and then Mike Valeroni, who was the site selector and incentive consultant on the deal. Absolute joy to work with all of those individuals. The company has been incredibly respectful and supportive of our community, and I've really enjoyed that process. On our side, I'd start with the Barr family, Harold and Sue Barr. We had their children in attendance with us last night, Aaron Wilson, Jane Barr, Ben Barr, and his wife Jessica. The Barr family kind of got this whole process started with us by annexing their property into the city of LaPorte. Without that work, this would have never occurred. Larry and Susan Yazel and their family, who were another property owner. We had a couple attorneys, Bill Nelson, who was the attorney for the Barrs, Jim Kaminsky for the Yazels. Both Bill and Jim are terrific to work with. You've obviously all worked with them over time. Rick Kalinsky and Cindy Admay from NIPSCO. Obviously our attorney, Nick Otis and Matt Hagenow. Tom Pittman from Barnes and Thornburg. Andy Mauser from Baker Tilly. Andy's a great resource for us. The Redevelopment Commission, led by Brian Chalik, the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and then two others I wanted to mention. I didn't mention them last night, but Mike Pavey Excavating. Mike really went above and beyond to help with a demo on one of the properties that we needed in order to make a timeline work. So appreciate Mike and everything he does for our community. And then Great News.Life, who covered the event last night. Chris Malman and his team are terrific. I just saw, as we were starting our meeting today, some great pictures came out and the story from Great News.Life. We appreciate their support as well. I'll probably stop there. If you have questions specific to the project, I'll try and answer those, but just happy to be able to share this with you this morning.
It's amazing. It's kudos to the entire team, to you, Bert, for making this happen as well, and Mayor,
Well, Mayor
you as
Dermody,
well, in your hot chili pepper shirt.
We're hot today.
we've said it a couple times as we've spoken on the project, but again, this is the largest project that has ever occurred in our city, and it's by a factor of 10, right? So we're not even close. And I mentioned last night, but Mayor Dermody, Courtney Parthune, you know, their support expertise on projects like this doesn't happen without great leadership, and very happy to be able to celebrate with everyone, but especially with the mayor and with Courtney for their work.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very impressive, and it was a packed house last night. You couldn't find a seat. There was probably more than a dozen of us just in the hallway trying to listen in as best we could, so, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
congratulations. I usually watch on Facebook, so you could tell the excitement in the room, and I mean, it's really fantastic from the, very importantly, right, bringing sort of this high level of technology type of employment here to the area, as well as, you know, the number of high-paying jobs, great use of sort of land. I think just absolutely a wonderful, and talk about, well, actually, you know what, Bert, could you talk a little bit about the tax handling, right? Because I think I've heard some questions about, oh gosh, what kind of breaks are they getting? But really, overall, this is really going to be a boon for LaPorte and the city. But could you just kind of highlight that the handling of like the personal property tax versus the taxes that they will pay?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, the first thing that I think I'll start with, and I speak often when I'm talking to the city council, there are sometimes in the public, you know, who don't necessarily work on projects like this, there's a misunderstanding that, you know, incentives are something very unique or are not used everywhere. And I have to be the honest, they're used on every single deal in every community. And frankly, every community is lining up to utilize the tools that we've been given by the state in order to incentivize development like this. So in Indiana, we tax both personal property, which is equipment, and then real property, which is your building and your land. So this company is, Microsoft is receiving a incentive on their personal property, on that equipment, but they're paying back a large portion of that directly back to the community for